Welcome to welcome to the show. I'm Mitch Goldberg with the wealth management firm Client First Strategy. The question is, will worries help sink the economy into a recession, sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, or will the stock market climb a wall of worry and everything will be just fine? Those are the two central questions in the market today. Maybe it also gives us an oversold bounce. So we're going to talk about these things and some positives and negatives to be on the lookout for and what we think is the most important trends to look at. So I'll roll a quick intro. Stick with me. And here we go. All right, we're back. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Mitch. If you have any questions, certainly ask me in the comments. I love hearing from you. If you're watching this in the replay, you know what? Please ask your questions. It's the same as the live, and I will see those. I'll get back to you, and it's good to hear from you. Give me a thumbs up. This way I could see who's out there, and I could say hello to you. Maybe a heart or a laugh emoji, whatever fancies you. If you're watching on YouTube, please, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. I actually never hit the notification bells because I don't actually want alerts. I could just go at the top of my YouTube channel and see all the channels I subscribe to, and that's the way I do it. But if you want to do that and that's how you roll, that's cool. All right, so let's talk about worries. there's there's worries from two different angles. The first one is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think that we're going into a recession, okay, you could slow down your spending. You might think, I don't need that extra pair of sneakers, or my kids don't need that new baseball bat, or, all the things that you might cut back on spending. Maybe we'll hold on to the car another year, especially if it's paid off. Why? What's the big deal? Maybe we won't get that furniture or take that trip. But the point is, consumer confidence, all right, consumer confidence and where the economy is headed hits a 12-year low. Consumer confidence is really tanking. Consumer confidence down, tumbled 9.6, the lowest reading in 12 years. That's pretty horrible. And then if you take a look at this, recession is coming before the end of 2025. Generally pessimistic corporate CFOs say, well, CFOs are worried. About half of the CFOs in the survey say recession either by the end of this year or sometime in 2026. That's a pretty negative view. So if you as a consumer are worried about a recession, you're going to slow down your spending. Now, when you slow down your spending, that might be good for your finances. But if everybody does it, that actually slows down the economy and we go into a recession. If everybody just, zips up their pocketbook, folds their wallet, and that's the end of it, right? Nobody wants to spend or curtail spending. That's a problem. Consumer confidence is a pretty big deal. And then the other thing is CFOs, are businesses are concerned that we're heading into a recession. So if CFOs decide, they're heading into a recession, what does that mean? They put off new orders, they put off maybe building a new plant or a new factory, they put off investing, they put off hiring, or maybe they say, we need to get lean right now and get rid of anyone we can and get lean for the upcoming recession that we think we're heading into. And unemployment goes up, layoffs go up. And when that happens, what do consumers do? Consumers see those headlines and they get even more negative. So they stop spending, which causes corporations to fire more people, which causes consumers to get more negative. It's a really bad vicious cycle. And that's the concern for the economy. Now, it may or may not happen. All these big businesses are hoping to get tariff relief that is going to help them, that's going to help their industry or their business. But, President Trump seems hell bent on tariffs. When he doesn't talk about tariffs, or he says there could be flexibility, the market does go up. But we have to see what happens with that. And until that is resolved and people really have confidence that President Trump won't change his mind on a whim or get pissed off at somebody and shout out at another tariff, nobody's going to believe him. And no one's going to have faith in that. So it's causing a lot of havoc for consumers, for investors, and for businesses. Now, we haven't seen broad scale layoffs yet. The next non-farm payroll figures will come out. I think it's April 4th to 5th on a Friday, and that'll be the first time when we could see the layoffs from Doge start to hit the labor market. A lot of people have been rehired because of court orders, so it's tough to say what that's going to look like. So employment might still hold up. We also have to watch for inflation. Tariffs are inflationary. If Trump does enact all of the tariffs that he's talking about, tariffs are a tax on consumers and businesses, then we would have to consider that possibly the biggest tax hike in history. Except nobody's getting that money. It's not like it's not like you're gonna have more money to spend. So if you make the prices of things go up because the government's collecting money in tariffs, okay, that's great, but it's balanced by consumers and businesses spending less. So which is the net, right? Which is going to be the net. So the other way to look at this is the stock market is known, it's famous for, the stock market is known and in fact is famous for climbing a wall of worry. What does that mean? People get worried, they're scared, worried about a recession, about the stock market, the economy, all these things they're worried about. It often means that people have already sold off and gotten out of the market as much as they wanted or could. And then it causes people to start buying as news comes in that is better than expected. And before you know it, the stock market rebounds. I look at the Magnificent Seven stocks every day, and they haven't really shown much of a slowdown, if anything. Nvidia is not growing like it was, but it's still growing pretty rapidly. But maybe the valuations are good enough, or maybe they're still too high. But that is the ultimate question. Is this an oversold bounce in the market? Because we had a couple of good days, in particular yesterday. Up market Friday, big up market yesterday, a little follow through today. Those are all positives, and that helps make up a lot of the damage done from the swoon we've seen from February up until a week ago. Many stocks are still down 10, 20, 30% or more from their recent peaks. And I'm looking at like stocks like JP Morgan and Procter and Gamble, Honeywell. There's a lot of big names that are down a lot. It's not just technology stocks that have taken a tumble. So we are going to find these out. And I know you want direction, so let me give you some direction, okay? It's tough to see the exact age. It could start at 50, it could start at 60. But at that point, you start to have an idea of when you think you're going to need your money for retirement. It doesn't mean that, if I'm retiring in 10 years, I should have all my money in cash within the next couple of years. No, that's not what it means. But it means you have to be, or I have to be as a financial advisor, cognizant of a client's upcoming needs. And as we get closer to needing assets to pay for a client's retirement expenses, we start raising cash in advance of that. Not all of it. Just because somebody's 65, for example, retires, doesn't mean you go to 100% cash. It means that you could still have a 20 or 25-year time horizon in retirement where you still need your money to grow and keep ahead of inflation. And we want to be as tax efficient as possible, right? We want to do all the things to make your money last as long as possible. So at some point, when you know you're going to start to need money, you want to go in a gentle glide path with lower risk and more assets into stability, like cash equivalents, fixed income, that sort of thing. That has its own set of risks, by the way. Longer dated bonds could go down when interest rates go up. If you buy individual bonds and you're just happy to hold on until maturity, that's not such a big deal to you. But inflation could creep up, and all of a sudden your interest payments and your bonds don't mean as much. So there are some risks to going into bonds. Plus, we could have inflation, which means your money's not keeping up with inflation. So I don't want you to think that just like sitting in cash or fixed income, short-term bonds is an end all and be all of risk management. There's nothing that's without risk. Even cash has a risk because it's the loss of purchasing power from inflation is a risk with cash. All right. But if you are, let's say, under 50, as an example, under 40 especially, just keep investing in your 401k plan, your retirement plan, your IRAs, whatever you're doing, your taxable brokerage accounts. You can keep going because you've got 20, 30 years or more to go of growth ahead of you. I'm pretty confident saying we're going to have a lot of growth still in the economy and the market in the next 20 or 30 years, and that'll be reflected in the stock market. So it really depends on your station in life. A lot of people pose the question about the stock market to be in or to be out. I don't think that's the right way to pose the question. I think it's when should your glide path to start getting out of the market or reducing stock market exposure begin, and how long should that glide path take? Those are the two central questions when it comes to combining asset management with financial planning. So that's how I would look at that. So what else you want to talk? I think that's really it. I think those cover the big topics of what's going on now. So I'm going to let you go. It's a lot later than I wanted to do this live stream. Hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, again, reach out to me in the comments, and please stay tuned. I do these a lot. Keep an eye out for our videos. If you follow us and like our page on Client First Strategy, you'll see all of our content. I'm on Instagram at InstaMitchG. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Mitchell Goldberg, AIF, AAMS, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys, for watching. All right, don't forget, smash that like button. Goodbye.